Felipe, thank you so much for being on the Aulona Alchemy podcast and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here. Stoked.
All right. Well, there's only one way I could possibly start out this episode, and that is.
Let's go.
Yes!
Let's go. Let's go.
Whoa! Oh my
Yes.
god. You're the best. All right. I just had to give everyone a taste of what I've been taking in like an IV.
You're so awesome. You know how it is. We had to. We had to.
We had to. So, Felipe, otherwise known as Dusk Music, take me back to the very beginning, the origin story of what is creating this magic. What
Yeah.
first pulled you into making music? When did you realize it was more than a hobby for you?
Man, I that's the earliest memory that I have from creating music and just being into it overall was when I was a little kid. I was in preschool and I was in the back seat of my mom's car. She had a blue BMW. And that was another thing. I've always loved cars too, but music was the biggest one for me. Every time that I'd be sitting there in the back seat and she'd be playing some song, I don't even know, like some Spanish song or just something on the radio, and I would start tapping to the beat on like my legs, I would start like playing the drums on my legs and I got really good at it. Like it was the tempo that really like stuck with me. It was satisfying to keep up with the tempo and the rhythm. And I don't know, I think for me that was one of the catalysts, if you will, for getting into music just because of the tempo and there was rhythm and it made sense, on a deeper level for me. Even as a kid, I couldn't really um I guess comprehend or explain to somebody at the time why I loved music other than the fact that again it was just the rhythm and it,
Yeah.
it felt in flow with everything and it gave me flow, it gave me rhythm. I would
And you were
also kind
called
of
to tap and to like actually play along with it, unlike the rest of us that listen and dance.
yeah, I mean, I would dance too. Trust me, I would dance too. My family all the time would egg me on to dance and everything like that because I don't know, I just got down with music so easily. And I think for me too, though, besides the tapping, I would also kind of like grind my teeth, which is so weird. People are gonna be like, "What are you talking about?" But like, it was such a specific thing that I used to do, where like a song would be playing and I would be like in the back, I'd be like, with my mouth. with
Oh
like
wow. You
yeah,
were
and
you
and
were feeling it.
but it was funny because my producers watching this or any musicians watching this are gonna know what I'm talking about. It was like my own metronome. So I would do that where I would tap with my teeth or grind my teeth as a way of keeping like in time with the beat, keeping on beat,
Oh wow.
and
Okay, okay.
yeah, it was just an intuitive thing for me. It was just an intuitive thing for me. I just did it because it made sense. I didn't know what a metronome was. Again, I was in the single digits. I
And
didn't
and
know.
I don't
I
either. I don't know what a metronome is, but I get that now that's something that a producer would look out for.
Yeah, yeah. It
What
was
is
really
that? What
crazy
is a
because that was.
metronome? Let me ask for the people that don't know like me.
Yeah, it's I mean, I'm not gonna be able to give you like the Webster dictionary
Yeah.
definition, but it pretty much is a device that is used to detect how many beats per minute something is, or a certain tempo. If
Okay.
you're trying to structure a song to be within a certain range of speed, like that song that you just like that Bad Bunny remix that you just played right now that I made, right? That one I think is at like 160 or something like that. I have to check the project file again.
Yep.
I made
Yep.
it, yeah, but
BPM.
it's so beats per minute.
Mm-hmm. Okay, okay, amazing. All right, sorry to cut you off there. Just so much
No, you're
learning
good.
for me. So
You're
tell
good.
me, that was your early influences, riding in your mom's car, and then how did you take it from, okay, you have this kind of gift or this extra knack that not everyone is doing. How did you take it a step further and actually start making music?
Yeah, this is actually one of my favorite parts of the whole journey because I would say that now we're fast forwarding a little bit. I was doing a lot of the, pretending to play like a song on my legs and like with my teeth grinding and everything. And then I took that a step further. I got my first iPod Touch in middle school, and that's where things got crazy because I was already listening to music on like my dad's iPod back when they had like the iPod Nanos and the shuffles, like the little
Yep.
clip-on ones. Those were so cool. Those were so
The
cool.
best.
The freaking best. And what I would do though with my iPod Touch is I downloaded this DJ app. It was called DJ2. And there was another one that I can't remember the name of, but I would go back and forth between these two DJ apps, and I would learn um, how to kind of mix songs together. So I was listening to a lot of dubstep at the time. You know Skrillex? Are you familiar with
Yeah,
Skrillex?
I've seen Skrillex live, of course.
Man, you're so lucky. Okay, yeah, like that. I never seen him live, but I listened to so much of his
I'm
music at the
I'm
time.
old school. That might date me a little bit, but yep, saw him at Electric Forest.
Oh, that's dope. No, that's so cool. Yeah, I was obsessed with Skrillex because I think for me, again, on a deeper level, it just like the way that the songs were composed was just it just made so much sense to me. It hit home, it felt like the future, and I felt like that music represented kind of where I felt like I was really from, So I would listen
I
to that a
love
lot, but then
that.
yeah, again, and I wasn't
I
really
I lo-
like
I love that Skrillex is one of your influences. That's just fucking sick. And because it's so
huge.
dirty and grimy and different, so for you to find yourself there is sick. And I also loved hearing. Well, the first time I heard it too, I was like, "This is nasty. I love it."
Yeah, yeah, it was just grimy bass and it was speedy. Sometimes it was slow, but it was just and it was an all-encompassing sound that made it just made sense to me, right? And at the time, I was also watching a lot of Star Wars. I was always a sci-fi geek as a kid, so it just was it was in my lane.
Love
Um,
it.
so I would listen to his music a lot, but then I downloaded these apps, right, like I was referring to, and you were allowed to choose songs from your Apple Music library or your iTunes library at the time. Like that's dating me at this point. iTunes, it's not iTunes anymore. It's Apple Music. Like, you
We
know.
don't age. It's fine. We're timeless.
I'm saying we're infinite. Like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean? Um, so I would put like two songs that I in my head would just I thought would go together. Um, Maybe they would be a little bit different, but for the most part, I just in my head I would hear it before, right? Like before I even put the two songs together, I'm like, okay, I want it to sound like this. I want it to transition this way, and I would put the two songs on either side. Like it was two discs. If anyone's familiar with like like a DJ set, there's like usually like two little turntables, and then you
Hmm.
put one song on one on the other, and you have your crossfader in the middle, which is how you can switch between whichever song that you want to play. And if you have the crossfader in the middle, that's playing both songs. If you have it towards the left, then it's just the left. If it's the right, it's just the right song that's on
Oh
either
shit!
disc.
I never knew
Yeah.
that. Okay.
Mini DJ lesson. It's not just a podcast, it's a mini DJ lesson for anyone watching.
I'm
This is
like, is
early.
that what you guys are doing over there? Okay.
Yeah, if you see some guy going like, ooh yeah, like he's like doing this little like thing, he's like crossfading it. Okay, he's switching it to the other song.
Okay.
Um, and so what I would do too, right? So let's just say one Skrillex song is 140 beats per minute. That's the tempo. It's 140 BPM. Okay, cool. So that's that one song. It's at 140 BPM, and then there's another one that's at like 120. So it's like a difference of 20 beats per minute. So what I would do is I would put that other song to 140 beats per minute. So I'd speed it up just a little bit, and then I would find the right place in the song
Mm.
for where it would like transition the best, right? Based on
Okay.
what I, yeah, based on what I heard in my head, because I've heard all these songs like a bajillion times. Um, and then I would go ahead and I would record it because you can record it in the app, and then I would make my own little mixes. Um, and sometimes what I would do too is I would download like little instrumentals, like trap instrumentals. I used to be super into trap music too, like but not like not rap, more like trap. I don't know what's the name of it. It's called like trap step. Are you familiar with trap step?
I don't know. I don't know what a lot of this stuff is called, to be honest. Like even when I went to Skrillex, I had never heard of him before. No one had. I just showed up and listened. So to be honest, I don't know if I've heard it or
That's
not.
insane. That's so cool that you didn't even know. Like you just like
I
went.
at the time, no one knew who he was, so it felt like I was doing something wrong by being there. I was like, "Is this allowed?" like, what am I going to tell my friends I just went to? But yeah, I don't know what is it trap house? Like, I don't know what that is.
So it's trap step is what it's called, but I
Hmm.
mean it's pretty much EDM, but with a trappy kind of hip hop style like mix somewhere in between. You've honestly, if you've been to, like you said, you've been to some concerts and raves, you've probably heard it. It's just a very
I
specific
wouldn't know
niche
what it's
name.
called. Yeah.
Yeah, but you've probably heard music like that. So,
Yeah.
so I would download instrumentals of trap beats because I didn't know how to make my own at the time, and I would just download them and then mix them in with um with my favorite dubstep songs, make like little remixes out of them. So that was kind of the start of getting my hands dirty with music and manipulating music. But I always wanted to create my own. Like that's the thing. I was always feeling like, okay, I got to create something. I got to make something from scratch because it's like how is Skrillex doing it? Like how he could do it. Like what is he doing? Like I could do that. Like
That's
what
wild that you felt that calling. And that you
Yeah.
could imagine the songs in your head at what point they would mix well together. That's like a special talent that, I could never picture them that way and like think of the moment to combine them.
It's a really like, I guess you could say it feels really trippy because it almost it felt like I wasn't coming up with it. Like that's the thing, right? And I've leaned into that a lot recently too, especially in just my endeavors with music. Is that it, I noticed that it was usually not necessarily me coming up with those ideas, and I didn't really realize it at the time. But it was at first I was like, oh no, it's just like it's my idea. Like, oh wow, like I'm a genius, you know. And I'll give myself some credit, sure, but as I kept progressing with my music, especially when it came to music production, so making music from scratch, um, that's where ideas would just start to come on their own, and it didn't feel like I was again creating them. I would oftentimes hear music in my sleep. I would oftentimes, like just get an idea out of nowhere when I was quiet and like bored. And I've come and we can really get into this. This is like a
We're
whole
gonna get into that. We are gonna get into that
yeah
whenever you're ready to. But
yeah
it
that's
sounds like you were chosen, which I think everyone is chosen for the gifts they have. Like you were chosen for this gift, and you are getting amazing fucking music channeled to you and through you. And of course you got to take credit for that because you answered the call and you took it on. But I really believe that artists, musicians, whatever gifts people have, they were chosen and that was given to them, and it's their duty to use it.
yeah. And thank you. I think that definitely, and you could even see it with some of these people, and I'm not comparing myself to them clearly, but I'm just saying like um the overall, what's the word? I'm kind of blanking out here. The like what you're saying about how people can be chosen for certain roles or for certain gifts that they have, and how that's expressed is different. Like I see some people, I have friends that are like amazing painters, for example, and they can literally capture the most awe-stricken like landscape or whatever, right? And for me, it's just I like hear all these things all the time, and um, like certain musicians like Michael Jackson, I know Michael Jackson and Prince, they would oftentimes talk about receiving music from like dreams, and they had to act on it at the time because it would go away later if they didn't act on it, and it's like,
Hmm.
to me that kind of reminds me of how, if you're not gonna put an idea that comes to you, as in like you didn't think of it, it came to you, if you don't act on it, it's gonna go to somebody else, and it might take
Yes.
another form. It might take another form, but like it's gonna go somewhere else, and it's one of those things where like, we're vessels, we're more than just human beings, we're vessels that are actively always receiving some form of download or some form of communication, and that doesn't even have to be for creating. It could be for, oh, go to this country, go to this shop, and you don't even know why you're doing it, and then you end up meeting, somebody, like even you, like I even
Yes.
commented on Michael's page. I commented
Yes.
on Michael Rez's page, it just
And I
saying
found
my
you.
2 cents.
I am
Yeah,
so like yes, 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 yes to everything you just said. It's just so nice to find this group of people in the 5D. I've done another episode now with Michael Reza as well, but
yeah,
I I agree with you. Like we are given these ideas, and if you don't act on it, just like you said, it's going to go to someone else. So in one way there is our human avatar, our human form that chose to act on it, but in another way it's like they're not even our ideas, they're being sent to us. So answer the call, but that mission from where it's coming from, it's there. So if you don't answer the call, it'll go to someone else. And sometimes
yeah.
we all tune into the same thing. Like, man, I'll see me and someone create the exact same post at the exact same time, and it's just to me a confirmation like, yep, we're tuning into the same frequency right now.
Yeah, and even and I'll just say this part too to kind of add on to that. Even when it comes to, um, you know, people overall, they'll have very similar dreams, and that's like what Carl Jung talked about, tapping into the collective unconscious, right? A lot of people
Yes.
will have like zombie apocalypse dreams. I've had a ton of those, or like mall world dreams where people will like go to like the mall in their dreams and like they wake up and they're like, dude, like I saw this, and then like so many people will say they saw the same thing. So it's like, yeah, like we are vessels that are always receiving. And for me, like I had this download that hit me one day where it was like my higher self was pretty much telling me like, dude, like my higher self was like, I need a vessel to be able to carry out the things that I need to do, which is music, right? And it's a deep rooted feeling. It's like a knowing beyond like any logic. I can't even. It's
It's hard to
not that it's hard.
articulate.
Yeah, it's harder to, but it's like I can't even really explain it other than that it just comes to me, and then I'm like, "Ugh," I gotta just put it
Create
out.
it.
Yeah.
That's sick. You were chosen for a sick mission, I have to say.
Thank you, thank you. It's a blast, honestly. The creative process is the most fun part because at the end of the
So
day, like
tell
I'm
me
not
about
even.
that.
Yeah, it's fun because I'll get an urge to create something. Sometimes I already know what it is. Like sometimes I already hear the whole thing before I even open up my FL Studio, the program I use to make music. Sometimes I'll have a concept that gets hit into me. Like it will be a concept. Um, and it's funny because there's a signature sometimes that's underlying with the song. Like I'll give you an example. There's a song that I have called "Who Are You," which is actually part of a EP that I dropped back in 2024. It's called "Unknown Regions." That whole EP is channeled. So that was channeled from higher dimensional beings. Some people
Yes,
call them aliens.
I want to
Some
get to
people,
that.
yeah, we'll get there. But
Okay.
that EP was definitely channeled from some galactic beings, and they were cool too. It wasn't like anything nefarious or anything like that. But that song "Who Are You," it just was coming through as I was gathering the sounds to make it. The concept kept coming through, and then like the beat was just like kind of shown in front of me, and I heard it, and then I just kept putting everything, and it was like my hand was like, it wasn't me moving
That's
my hand, it was
sick.
like they were doing it, they were
And
doing it.
does
It was
it
so
come
crazy.
out like again, it's kind of silly question, but once it's said and done, does it come out like how you envisioned in your head, or does it take on some like new form?
Sometimes it comes in, sometimes it's new form completely. Like I'll have again, sometimes it will be a concept and I won't even know how to convey it, but then it just comes out. And I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, I didn't even have an expectation for how it was going to come out. It just came out the way that it did. Other times it comes out exactly how I wanted it to. And there's other times where I think that I'm doing it. They're so slick sometimes because sometimes it's like I think I'm making the beat, and then I'm like, oh, like I made my own beat. Like it was me that like did it. It wasn't channeled or anything. And then the song title will come in, and it's a 1,000% channeled. And I'm like, so you guys were behind this the entire freaking time. Like
Dude,
it's so
it's blowing
crazy.
my mind.
It's
Okay,
really
okay,
trippy.
okay. Now I need to ask you because
Yeah.
you're different. Like I have a lot of music making friends, but you're different in the sense that I can talk about this stuff with you, about other dimensions, about, your music is titled like paradigm shift and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
how did you get into this world, into this
To the
community, into
woo.
this mind? Right, how did you get into the woo?
Ah man, yeah, I love that question. It like lights me up every time that somebody asks me that question, which is not a lot of people. And it's one of those things that, it started for me as a kid, to be honest with you. It started to me as I had always been able to see certain beings beyond this dimension, and it was crazy. Like back in like the first house I lived in, I had my toys turn on by themselves, and my mom would tell me this. I didn't know, I was too young at the time. She told me that my toys would turn on by themselves all the time. We moved to
Children.
an Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, crazy stuff. And see, like most people at this point watching this probably are like, "Oh, that's so demonic," but like, nah,
Nah,
it
we're not
it
here
was
for most people, though. We're not like
totally,
Taylor Swift.
yeah,
Sorry, no shade to that, but we're here to
yeah, no
lock into
shade.
this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then it got to a point, where we moved to another house, and I would see like all types of just like shape shifting entities. And sometimes I would feel an energy, right? Sometimes I would just feel like an energy, like a presence, and it wasn't negative necessarily, but at the same time, my nervous system didn't know how to react to that. So it was like what's going on? And
and
then
and would you
I
see it visually or just feel it?
Both. So there was, especially as a kid, is where I saw them more often.
Hmm.
Um, because, as a child, you're way less conditioned by society. You haven't gone through the whole, school system, which I like
Programming.
to just, the programming, 100%. That's what I was
Hmm.
literally going to say, like the programming system, right? And so my mind was very, for the most part, I had a very like innocent mindset towards things, and I was very open psychically. So I was going to Catholic school at the time, and I remember seeing this angelic figure. It was like an angel that you would see in like a children's book. And it's so crazy because it was a 7 foot tall angel, ginormous, huge, huge,
Whoa.
huge angel figure, at least 7 feet tall. But she had to like duck down, like this is the door, like the door frame, and she would have to like peek her head down to be able to like see into the room. And I was awake, I was not dreaming, and I couldn't believe my eyes. Right? It was so crazy seeing that. I'll never forget it. I literally like I could take myself back there every time, and when I close my eyes and see it. Um, but
Wow.
the craziest one. I just want to say this one other one. The
Yeah, no,
craziest,
please tell me all of them.
yeah.
Just saying,
The
like,
craziest.
wow, this is amazing.
It was a life changing experience, and it was crazy because I then I used to go to my parents' room every night, like up until I was like 7 years old. I used to every night wake up in the middle of the night and go to my parents' room, and during this time, right around the time that I saw this angelic figure, I saw this ginormous orb. It was just a circular orb, and it was kind of translucent, but kind of not. It was probably, man, I can't even gauge the size. It was probably around the size of a door, but it was like a circle, and
Hmm.
it would flash different colors, ever so slightly, and I would telepathically communicate to this thing. It would like tell me, "Hey, I'm just here in front of your parents' room, just making sure everything's cool, keeping everybody safe. You can," and he told me, "Hey, you can go though. Like it's okay. You can go cuddle with your mom and dad." And he would move to the side, and
Wow.
this became like a recurring thing for a little while, and we became cool. And again, he wasn't saying anything to me. That wasn't the
I
exact words that he
understand.
said.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I feel that, like, I talked about it in one episode when I've telepathically communicated with a plant, although I was on psychedelics, but many people have that experience. They don't speak audibly, but the message
Yeah,
just gets downloaded into your mind and you know what they're saying. So you like hear it in
yeah.
your mind, but you don't hear a voice out loud.
Yeah, which is so crazy, it was so crazy. So I would see that, and then there was also a time too though where I would see a lot of like crazy entity, like weird paranormal things, and at that time there was a lot going on in the house. So that's a whole other story. But yeah, the woo had always followed me around, And I realized that, as I kept diving into music production, that they were also behind that. And they meaning, right, again, like we talked about, like any of like the woo, like anomalous phenomena, ETs.
The
um
woo done chose you.
and it was funny because, I'm not sure if you're familiar, if you know Pop Smoke, rest in peace, if you know that artist. But
Rapper, I think so.
yeah, yeah, he was a rapper that passed in 2020. And
Okay, rest in
at
peace.
this time, I had kind of like, I wasn't really tapped in with the woo as much, but his slogan was woo all the time. He would say woo 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 all the time, like all the time, and I subconsciously gravitated towards him because of that. And I didn't realize that till later, when the anomalous stuff started to pick up for me again in, like, I want to say 2022, 2023. um that's where it started to pick up again, and I'm like, oh, okay, like that's really
Okay.
crazy, you
Tell
know.
me what you mean by pick up again. So you were a kid, you used to see these things and communicate with them. Was there a point
Mhm.
where you kind of let go of that getting into school, or like how
You
did
got
that
it.
happen?
That's right there, right there. Yes, it was when I started to go through school. I had been switching school so much, all the time. Like, I switched schools a few times, and then I went into homeschooling, and then I went back to public school, and it was just this whole thing, right? And the more that I went through school, the more that I guess was going through the whole conditioning and trying to fit in and everything like that, and I naturally just closed myself off a little bit more to some of the woo things. It didn't completely subside. There were some crazy instances, out of body experiences that would happen. See some crazy entities and stuff like that. The occasional UFO here and there, and it was funny actually because I think that was actually in 2015. Sorry, I'm all over the place.
No, I love it. I love it as it
There's
comes to you. I get it.
yeah, there was so many. Yeah, even in like, I want to say it really stopped from like 2010, 2011, and then it picked back up again in 2015 a little bit. There were some UFO instances, not that I saw them physically in like physical reality, but I saw them in terms of like dreams. I would Yeah, I saw them in terms of dreams, and there was times where there would just be helicopters flying over my house and like around the area, and I didn't see
Hmm.
anything, but it
Interesting.
was like middle of the night, helicopters, and usually it would be after having some crazy dream with a UFO. And so, they've always kind of been around. And the UFO phenomena, as I know that you know this, but like, they're
Yes.
not. It's not just little green men or like the ETs that everybody's so familiar with. Like, they'll
Mm-hmm.
shapeshift into something that you're familiar with, just so that you can know that, like, that's them, and like,
Yep. Yep.
because they
Yep.
tap into your consciousness the way they walk into a room and turn on the lights. So, um, I think in 2015 that was a pretty kind of rampant year. Then it really stopped after that, because that's when I was in high school and I was really trying to fit in. So then
Yeah.
they left me alone.
Can't be
They
talking
let
about
me.
that.
Yeah, they're like, okay, Lee, you gotta stop. So they left me alone there, and then in 2022 I saw a V-shaped craft. I have the video somewhere on my phone. I have to find it, but
Wow.
I was at the beach with one of my so ex at the time, actually,
Mm-hmm.
and she
Mm-hmm.
saw it first. She was like, "What is that?" And I'm like, "Oh, I just
Oh,
had to
so it
like hold
was
my
an
breath."
actual physical unidentified flying
Yeah,
object.
yeah, and I try to be discerning. At first, I thought maybe it could have been like birds, like a flock of birds, because it was nighttime. We were on the beach, but it was flying so low, but yet high at the same time. Like, it wasn't. It was low enough to not be a plane, but it was still very high enough to, okay, maybe it could have been birds. But the way that it was moving was just way too slow. I've seen birds moving at night. It was too slow for that. And it was also kind of mirroring the sky, so it was like cloaking itself
This is
somehow.
crazy. I'm
Yeah,
so
and
grateful to like have you share this experience openly. And like I need to be honest with you. I'm the most open-minded person ever. And astral traveled, met like a million things. I don't think I've made contact with other beings unless there's something I'm missing. Like when I meditate, I make contact with all kinds of spirit guides, whether it's people who have passed on or spirit guides that come to me. That's when I'm meditating and going deep. But in my daily waking life, I don't think I've had the experience that I recall of being like, that is an otherworldly being communicating with me. But I am so curious about it. And you and Michael's stories have a lot of similarities. So I appreciate you opening up about this so much. And I am curious. And I also feel like a lot of people might like if we have this gift, we might have suppressed it because we were taught not to. So when you're sharing this experience, I'm so curious of like, how do they show up, this and that. You were chosen. If I've made contact, maybe I have, but I don't know. And maybe I will
You have.
after this because I'm open to, okay. And
Yeah.
I've always, look, I have an engineering degree, science mind. I've always known that there are other beings out there. Just probability wise, knowing how big the galaxies are, like how could we be so um silly to think we're the only living creatures? So I never
Yeah.
ever, like only
Yeah.
humans are in the whole universe, only us have consciousness. No
Right.
way. So I've
Right.
always known that that exists, and that scientifically we've made contact as like scientists have. But I've never really spoken to people till now that have made contact, that like real people that are not on TV, that are people I'm meeting. And this coincides with what we see in the news right now. There's a lot of researchers going missing and all that. So I just wanted to lay that foundation down. I'm super open minded. I believe. I just want to know more.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
thank you for sharing this openly.
Of course.
So
Yeah.
you saw that unidentified flying object at the beach, okay, and you saying you've made contact here and there. There was times where they've left and times where they've come back. So what happened when they came back?
So it was in 2022 when they came back, when I saw that craft, and again, that was with an eyewitness, um, and it was really, really, really inspiring because that's what started to lead me down more so, um, tapping into the overall UFO phenomena, right? And I've always had an
That's
interest
so cool.
into it. Yeah, I've
What a
always
time
had
to
an
be
interest.
alive.
Seriously, I always go back to that point. I always talk about that with the people that are open to talking about it. It's like, why are we here at the time that we are here? There is no freaking coincidence that we are here at the time that we are here, like where all of this stuff is unfolding. I mean, and then you look back in history, and like, there's been so many instances where other civilizations have had contact too for with these beings because
Mhm.
they're all over the cave paintings. They're all
Yeah.
over their,
The pyramids, like how did they build that? I'm a civil engineer, like what, how? So yeah, we have signs all over, and I've always watched those documentaries, and it resonated with me. I'm like, yep,
Mhm.
that checks out.
Yeah, yeah, and that's just like that. It's funny because the more that I tapped into the UFO phenomena, the more I got back in touch with my inner child. Because my inner child, that's all I really cared about. I was like, "What the heck's going on with the Bermuda Triangle? I don't care about my math homework. I don't care about this stupid standardized test. What do you mean standardized test? Like, what about the freaking pyramids? What's under the pyramids? What's
Mhm.
going on with the Bermuda Triangle? How come I'm having dreams of UFOs? Why can I like?" Even as a kid, I was always looking up like NASA rocket launch videos. I was always looking at the stars, and like I felt like Star Wars was like my home. I didn't feel like
Mhm.
Earth was my home. So I'm like, okay, the more that I got back into this UFO stuff after trying to fit in for so long into like
Yeah.
some, like silly dynamics and stuff, I'm like, wait, I kept going back to my inner child, and then I started to like really dive down the rabbit hole of consciousness and how consciousness is interlinked with the phenomena, like the UFO phenomena, the overall paranormal, all that stuff is like the same thing. That's what connects us. And like you said, when you were connecting in meditation with your guides, when you were connecting with other beings, and like, people love to dismiss that so quickly because, oh, like it's all in your head, but like consciousness is the thing that actually links
Right.
all that
And
together.
I don't think it's all in my head. That's me connecting to the universe. And that's what I
Yeah.
teach, like tapping into the collective consciousness. I've just never considered them like aliens, and now I'm curious to learn more. And I don't doubt that it was, but I'm seeing all this language that I'm so curious about, of like Palladians and things like that. And there's
Hmm.
this scientist, I think his name is Dr. David Clements. He,
Yes.
you
Rest in
know,
peace. Rest in
what,
peace. Yes.
he died.
Isn't that the guy, or am I
Oh,
mistaking
that
him for
that is
somebody
another
else?
one, David
Okay.
Warlock.
David. Yes. Yeah. Okay.
His him.
Yeah.
So now I'm getting into that. I didn't know him before, and about the collective consciousness. What he's saying is what I've been teaching, and now there's like a scientist that now died, but that was teaching it. That lets me know, like, how did I know that? Anyway, the one
Yeah.
I was referencing, he does meditations, guided meditations, where he channels um aliens. I don't know what else to call them. Like, and he has names for them. He's like, today I'm channeling these beings. Today I'm channeling those beings. And I did his meditations. And I'll tell you, I was scared at first. I'm like, oh, because I didn't know if I could trust this guy to give my consciousness to as well,
Yeah.
But I did it. And they're so deep and beautiful. I've kind of passed out and don't remember all of it, but I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm very open, and maybe I have made contact. I just don't have the language and the knowledge to classify it that way. Whereas I hear people calling different types different names, you know?
Yes, I know what you mean, and I think it really comes down to, um, your discernment, right? Because you felt that you connected with something, and ultimately, like energy doesn't lie, so it's more of like, okay, what is this signature? What is the
Mm.
signature that is coming through? And not all guides or not all ETs. I like to call them Star Family. I feel weird calling them aliens
Star
because like
fam, love that.
yeah, because it's like I'm you, you're me, bro. Like, what's good?
Right.
Like you're not an alien. You're not like outside of us.
I mean, if
So
they're aliens, we're also aliens. So we're all the same thing. It's just,
yeah,
I've noticed people have been given names to different, like the way we say Europeans and Americans. Now there's names for different entities, whereas there's like Palladians and this and that. So I'm like, I
totally.
don't have the knowledge yet to be able to distinguish them. And I have
Hmm.
never been like, I just met with X type.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
I never
Well, not
thought to question it when I'm doing my meditations. I'm just doing me connecting with whatever shows up, But now I'm
mm,
like meeting people. It's just the time to take this further for me, and I think for a lot of people out
yeah,
there.
yeah. I agree, and some of them don't tell you unless you ask. They're very like based on free will, from what I've come to understand. Like they will only operate within the boundaries that you establish. So if like you really want to know, they'll tell you if you connect with them. Yeah, Pleiadians, Arcturians. I love listening to the Arcturian Council, who's channeled by Daniel Scranton. That's a really, really good channeler who channels the Arcturians, and he's been doing it for a long time. And they're cool. They're so cool because again, they're not just physical beings. They're from like the 12th dimension or something like that. Like they're
This
like
is so cool.
beyond physical, So yeah, and there's people, that are, you know, they're they're hybrids. People can be hybrids too, and they're not like they're here in a human vessel to partake in the human experience, but past lives or parallel lives, I like to call them, because everything all
Mm.
at once, right? So parallel lives, people that have parallel lives where they have ET origins. I have ET origins too. Like the Pleiadians, I had reached out and connected. I was like, I want to know where I'm actually from, and it like over time, like they started to tell me, and like I have Pleiadian origins that, well, I know that their favorite color, like one of their colors is like light blue, and like I've always been attracted to light blue. I'm wearing it right now.
And
It's
I
like
know
it's
I
just what it
picked
is.
up that you said your mom had a blue BMW, so I'm like, are you blue da ba dee da ba die? That's what came
Yes,
through for me
yes,
when you
yes,
said
yes.
that, but I didn't want to interrupt you.
It's so
That's
funny because
crazy.
yes, that was the song that I used to listen to a lot. And again, like people are gonna say no, but like that's just the song. No, like
I
that
don't care what
song.
people say.
No, I mean either. I'm just saying it's funny, like those that song was I was listening to that all the time. And yeah, she had She had a darker blue, like a navy blue, which is closely associated with Arcturians too. Like this kind of blue right here, like this.
That's
And
sick.
yeah, so it's just really cool, like and a lot of, and I feel that overall, there's the whole, oh, like I'm a star seed, I'm not from here kind of narrative, and like yeah, like I feel that we as people definitely do have origins that are like beyond the earthly physical plane, but again, as all beings are truly consciousness, right? If we're all truly consciousness incarnated into physical vessels, of course we're going to be by default pretty much
Right.
automatically not from here. So
That's
it's
what I
like
want to say. I'm like, doesn't you were saying you've had this experience. I'm like, well, wouldn't that be everyone then, since we all incarnate here to have this human experience? So I it resonates with me that we all come here, we incarnate here, we choose a soul's mission, we choose our family, and we're here to raise the earth's frequency, or I don't know, maybe some other people came with a different mission. I've always known in my heart my mission was to leave this world a better place than how I found it. And I've said that since I was a kid, and I've said that at job interviews. People would like cry at job interviews. I'm like, well, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to talk about buildings and get that deep. But where was I going with this? Yeah, like that's kind of where it ends for me, and that's already quite a high place, but that's kind of where it ends for me. So could you give kind of a pathway to people that are kind of where I'm at? Like, how can we take it further and make contact with all of that? Like someone like me who's meditated, who's out there, but has never made this kind of contact, or doesn't, like, I don't know my past lives if I've had any or anything like that. So, is there any advice you could give to people who want to go deeper?
Yeah, definitely, and I resonate with what you say a lot too. With feeling like you don't know, or like I'm not sure. If there's any doubts. I've noticed that the phenomena can be very, very, very. What's the word? They can be very vague sometimes, and it can be the most subtle ways to get. Like we have to be open to all forms of the contact modalities that
Mm-hmm.
they will use. It is not just, oh, a big ship in the sky. Oh, now I know I'm contacted, but anything else? Nah, it's not. It's not like it's being open to the contact that you seek, but it also comes with like keeping an open space within yourself mentally, um, doing the things that you love that put you in a childlike state,
Mm-hmm.
because they love the childlike curiosity. That is the number one thing, and that's why most children, when they say, "Oh, mom, I saw a UFO," or "Mom, I saw this like being," or like a cartoon character that they said that they saw, like that's the phenomena, like most likely like actually making contact with them. um so being open and doing the things that you love, um holding space, like giving that love to other people too, like um being what you seek, right? And you're gonna attract that on a vibrational level. Everything's energy. We
Yeah,
all
I
know
love
that
that.
it's all
And I
energy.
always refer to that as the universe. It's funny
Yes.
speaking to you and Michael, both amazing individuals who have made contact with our intergalactic friends. And
Yeah.
like I said, I probably have to, but I always refer to this stuff and taught it as the universe. Like, I didn't distinguish. I just said it's the universe, and I receive signs and I follow them. Like, even me moving to Dubai, where I lived to for 7 years, I've never told anyone but you now in the whole world this. I just got a feeling that I had to, and I myself didn't even know why. I was like, of all the places in the world, I was like, I got to go there, and I did. And Michael was talking about he just had to go to LA, and I'm like, that's so weird because that's exactly how I felt about going to Dubai, and I listened to it and I didn't like explain too much of it. But I
Yeah.
always refer
Yeah.
to it as the universe giving you signs and being open to receiving. And I'll ask questions to the universe all the time. Like, where do you want me to go? What do you want me to say?
Totally. And you know what? I think that if I had to put a overall general consensus because what you're saying is like is also super imperative, is recognizing that ultimately behind all of this, behind the ETs, behind all this crazy stuff happening in the world, all of that is the universe, which is you, the universe as in you, right?
Hmm.
And acknowledging the illusion of separation, and like dissolving that in the mind, because the mind is going to be here to try and like keep things separate and like label things for us to be able to understand and like conceptualize things so we can navigate this 3D physical experience. But for me, I remember like when I really started to make contact with them, when I started to like recontact them again after a little while, was just speaking out. I literally just spoke out and like talked as like how I'm talking to you right now,
Love it.
and I was just I was just like, yo guys, like I'm here, like what's good, and acknowledging like the what bridges us together. I would tell them, I would get nerdy with them. I'm like, the only like the thing that connects us is the fact that we're like made out of atoms, and like we're quite literally on an atomic level the same exact substance. Like we're the same, and
Yep.
there really is no difference between me and you. I'm actually you, and you are actually me too, on a deeper level, because all is one, all is connected.
Yep.
So
Our higher selves.
when I started to acknowledge that, but like it wasn't just saying it to say it. Like I truly felt it, and when
Hmm.
I truly felt that coherence, that's when they started to show up again, and it was crazy because they also just kept leading me down the rabbit hole of consciousness, healing yourself, getting back in touch with your inner child, and vibrating on that frequency of love, but like also experiencing everything else within the human experience, and not like just bypassing it either. Like it's
Right.
it's
The shadow work, the healing, that shit sucks, but that's a part of it.
and
Yeah.
they'll go away, and they will go away to give you the space, because
Yep. It's like
otherwise,
shit storm. Go figure it out. Come back to me when you like work through that. It's
yeah,
like fuck. Why? Why this lesson?
like come back. I remember,
Yeah.
yeah, there was a time where I was like seeing them a lot, and I was doing the Gateway tapes. I don't know if you've ever heard of those. Have you ever heard of the Gateway tapes by the
Mhm.
Monroe Institute?
No. No. I've heard of telepathy tapes, but different, right?
The Gateway tapes is a series of audios that use something called hemisync, in which they play certain frequencies in your left and right ear, and they synchronize both your left and right hemispheres of your brain, and they actually help you induce an out of body experience. So you can actually contact the non physical entities that are of service to you, that are of love, because there's also some not so nice ones out there. That's a big one. There
Mm-hmm.
are not nice ones, and they if you are not aware of the shadows within oneself, then like they will manifest through those emotions, they will manifest through those thought forms, and now all of a sudden you're dealing with some real nasty entities. Don't want that. They're out there
Wild.
too.
Wild. And
Yeah, because
again, it's again. Michael said the same thing.
yeah, they're there. Like they are they, like, because they are you too. So like
Okay,
if
so is that just our shadow? Like, look, I just went through the worst fucking cycle, but it's part of life and part of alchemy, and that's what I teach. Like, you've got to go through these lessons. But is that just our own shadows, our own demons, or is that something outside of us, like an entity entering us?
That's a good one. It can manifest in different ways, because it can be a thought form of yours that, for example, like it's been dormant, it's been ignored, because the brain's like, I don't need to deal with that. I don't want to deal with that.
Suppressing. Mm-hmm.
Suppress the heck out of it, and then and I had this happen to me where I would do these, when I first started, I got into these gateway tapes, and I would do the exercises, which are guided, and I remember seeing a deer with like these devil horns, and it was really freaky, and I'm like, dude, what is that? And I ended up coming to realize, like, that was definitely like trauma that I just didn't process, that was just buried deep, because once
Yeah.
I actually like looked at it and acknowledged it, I didn't even have to like completely eliminate it. I just had to acknowledge it, and I know what it is, and I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna be like accepting that into my energetic field. It went away.
Yeah,
But
that's what Carl Jung says too. We don't become. I'm gonna paraphrase and butcher this, but
yeah,
we become enlightened by walking into the dark, basically. Not just by being like fairies and roses. It's by going into the dark and bringing light into it. So we got to face that stuff, and it sucks, but
yeah,
it leads to good stuff on the other side.
beautifully said too. I mean, that's honestly it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the quote was something like that, but that's just the best paraphrase.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, there also are like entities that are of a negative influence or polarity. As in like they're of the yeah like a negative, they vibrate on a lower frequency. And those beings, man, they can be tricksters too. Sometimes they try to pretend to be something that they're not. And again, it really comes down to one's free will. How intentional is one when they are trying to make that contact, and the state of mind in which one is trying to make contact from. If I'm like jumbled up in my head and there's like, I have all these like negative thought loops, I had a bad day at work, and I'm like, let me just try to like contact my star family, and then like something could easily slip through, pretend to be my star family, and then like completely hit me with a shockwave of fear and bring up my fears. I, like
Mhm.
like
Mhm. I
and,
got you.
and you won't even see the being. You just like
Mhm.
feel a wave of like anxiety, and you're like,
Yeah.
why you do that though? It's like, dude.
Mhm. Mhm.
So yeah, there are those too, but again, nothing outside of us. So it's one
Right.
of those things where we take, and I know you talk about this too. It's like where, like, we got to take accountability for the reality in which we, as nodes of consciousness, split up into individual beings. How are we creating and co-creating that moment? And it really comes down to that intention as to what we want to connect with. You
Yeah,
know,
that was so beautifully said. That's amazing.
I'm glad it resonated.
Oh my gosh, amazing. And so, at what point did all of this tie into your music? Like, at what point did that influence come through you and manifest into this music that we're seeing from you today? Because it really is otherworldly and it leaves you with a vibe of like, it raises my frequency. Like, whoa.
Woo! Yeah.
Whoa. How did that happen?
Yeah, it was, and like I was saying before, the channeling was happening even when I wasn't aware of it. Um, I want to say that some of the earliest channeled music that I had created was, I want to say, somewhere around 2017, 2018. It was a whole mixtape. I was in high school. It was a whole like album slash mixtape of beats that I had, which I did release them in my album Tesseract Explorer, which has a lot of my older beats from way back in the day. But I just kind of felt like they were kind of making themselves, but I still thought at the time, no, but like this is me doing it. But they were all space themed. uh Galaxy was one. It was another one, Orbit. There was another one. I mean, so many different beats that were all space themed. And again, it's very subtle. Like, this is why, the whole ET phenomenon and the channeling phenomenon gets dismissed so easily, because people don't know the difference between what is channeled versus what's the mind. And
Right.
we and that's part of the development that, you know certain people will go through as their curriculum within this experience, in their life experience. What's the curriculum? My
Hmm.
part of mine was to discern what is channeling, what is my mind. And
Hmm.
sometimes the line is very, very thin, and it's hard to tell sometimes. But during that time, that's when I really started to like kind of channel them. And then, as I kept going, and diving into seeing the UFO, diving into consciousness, and then I was exploring myself, learning more about my inner self and like my true self. And that I this is the turning point though. There was a time where I took some psychedelics, and I was sitting there in my porch with some of my friends, and there was like a little plant in a pot next to me, and I just the amount of resonance and like just connection that I felt with that plant, I was like, that plant is just me but in another form. Like, what's good with you, bro? Like, nice to meet
Yeah.
you. And and I just started again another song just started making itself, but this time it was just super obvious. It was like, oh, yep, do this and then do
Got
that, put that
zapped with
over
it.
there. And it was just like go mode, and I knew at this point because I had already had experiences out of body, meeting some entities in my dreams, and setting intentions to meet them in my dreams. And at that point, it was like, okay, no, you need to do this because you have a job to do. You have to
Mhm.
make you have to make like consciousness expanding music, because these experiences that you had, it wasn't just for you to keep to yourself. You're not just supposed to keep this and like go die and like not tell anybody about this. You need to share
Yes.
this in some way that other people can. You don't even have to explain it, just give it to them, the rest will happen. And I'm like, okay. And I
You
made a whole
understood the
album.
assignment.
I did. I did. And it was crazy. It was really crazy. And even after the psychedelics wore off, I was like, dude, like, I know that I have to do this because, again, these experiences that I had out of body with meeting certain entities, with even seeing orbs in the sky through initiated contact, CE5. I'm not sure if you've heard of that. If you've heard of
No.
CE5, Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind. It's a form of meditation that you could do to
Oh, I love this. There's so many good nuggets in here. Like so many
yeah, you
side
can.
quests I'm gonna go on as a result of this.
Yes, and when I say CE5, I also, again, big disclaimer, be aware of the energy that you are outputting, the energy that's within you, because you don't want to call in something that you don't. I say that for anyone watching this too that wants to go and like look it up right after this, like make sure that you like are really aware of your inner state. And I don't mean that in a way to fearmonger or be scary or
No,
anything like
you're
that, but it's
so
just
right. You're so
just got
right.
to be
And
cautious.
you
Yeah.
need to be ready emotionally, spiritually, mentally. And, we both talked about psychedelics as well. And I think that's this is just a meditation, what you said, but I think that's another thing. These kind of things amplify what's going on inside you. So you need to be ready.
Yes.
And even when I said I haven't like made contact the way you guys have, it's probably because I wasn't ready, and I just went through a huge alchemical cycle. We're all always going through them, but I had a huge clearing out, a huge dark night of the soul.
Yes.
So maybe I'm ready now, maybe not, but I feel like, despite being in manifestation and alchemy for over a decade, everyone's on their own timeline. So
Yes.
perhaps I just wasn't
That's the
ready
one.
before, and whoever's watching, there's no need to rush yourself. And I also think people will be put off if they're not ready. They'll just be like, that's bullshit, So, and we're not
Yeah.
here to say like, go do
Yeah,
it.
exactly. No, you said exactly what I felt like I couldn't even put into words just right there.
Hmm.
Like that is the all-encompassing summary with diving into these woo things.
Hmm.
And it's just again, like, yeah, like make sure that you really know yourself or just what you're putting out. But yeah, so they it was just the assignment was understood from there, and I was I made a whole ton of music um that was channeled, again, since 2018, but then it became apparent to my consciousness that that's what was going on. Okay, you have your thing to do here, this is your directive, this is what you got to do. And since then it's been a blast, and I've been putting things together. I have so much music to come out with. I'm dropping one this Friday,
Woo!
Quantum Dancer, so that's gonna be
That was
out.
my favorite that I chose out of your three, so I can't wait.
Yes, yes, that's coming out this
That's
Friday.
my song. I want to ask you, like, something unique about you
Yes.
is that you make your music attuned to certain frequencies, like
Mm.
444. So, can you explain for the people why and what that does?
Yes, yes. So that's part of the directive. That's part of my job here with music, and more so, because most music is tuned to 440 hertz, and that frequency. It's not that it's like super bad for you, but there's other frequencies like 432 hertz, 444 hertz, which I tune my music to those two frequencies a lot. 432 hertz for just an easy reference, that's actually the frequency of Mother Earth. That's also known as the Schumann resonance too. And that frequency is, again, that's the planet's vibration. So that's a more natural. It is a little bit lower of a frequency in terms of like the sound. The pitch is a little bit lower, ever so slightly. Can't really tell the difference to the naked ear. For musicians, you can kind of tell the difference. But it is more of a relaxing frequency. It has been shown in studies to help people with sleep, stress management, lowering cortisol. So really beneficial. 444 hertz is a more amplified. It's only like it's mathematically correct. First of all, 444 hertz is actually a mathematically correct frequency. There's a whole reason as to why, and it's somewhere out there. I can't recall it right now, but it is a more mathematically correct frequency, and that does also help with opening up your heart a little bit more. Energetic
I
support
feel
and
it.
uplift.
I feel it when I
Hmm.
listen to your music. It's like, whoa, so much energy. Like, whoa. I
Yeah.
like I, how have we not been doing this all along as humans? you know?
Yeah, it's so crazy you say that because if we, the more we look back in time, the more I realize how ahead they were. There's actually like music back in the 80s, the 70s. A lot of people tuned their music to 432 hertz. Bob Marley was doing it. His music is tuned to
Yes.
432 hertz. Like
Yeah.
like he was into it, and
Mhm.
and once the industry standard changed, which there's lots of reasons why.
Right, we
Um
know.
yeah,
And, and
but
and I love that you said Bob Marley because I often reference him when I talk about the collective consciousness. He says one love, like, he was onto something. Even
yes.
not to go too deep, but Babylon, that they go into Rastafarian cultures and the meaning of Babylon, the programming in our society and everything, which is kind of crumbling right now. Babylon is crumbling.
Yes.
So yeah, so Bob Marley that's sick to know that his music was even attuned to the right frequency. Okay.
Yeah.
So artists have done it, we just didn't know.
Yeah, and it's not something that I feel that a lot of people were paying attention to, besides the fact that it was also swept under the rug, right?
Mhm.
Because sound is healing. And when we look at uh for example, I don't know if you've seen those videos where people will have like sand on like this little device, and then like they'll play a frequency, and the sand will literally morph to perfect geometrical shapes be based on the frequency. They're called
Well,
oscillators. Yeah.
but actually,
Mhm.
yeah, that's trippy. But at the same time, I know that even energy affects waves and causes waves. So I know that, but it's like
Oh,
the
I know you know.
context you,
Yeah.
but you saying it in this context is still a whoa moment because it just makes it set in that much of like what is going on inside ourselves when we're listening to this music. Like our cells are way smaller than granules of sand. So
Yeah.
this shit is powerful.
Crazy powerful. And it's so crazy powerful. And I'm just, for me, I knew that I already knew that I had something to do with music, even when I couldn't see it at the time. But then as things kept getting clearer, and binaural audio, binaural tracks, binaural beats, is, those tracks is where they'll play certain set of frequencies on your left ear and then certain frequencies on your right ear. Cannot give enough credit and a shout out to the Power of You. That channel is amazing. The creator Mark Nichols is an absolute genius. I love him so much. Like that guy has changed my life. His channel has changed my life, and I do incorporate some of the audios into some of my music, and that was a huge inspiration for me. And so, I do this music with intention because at the end of the day, binaural audio and sound healing has changed my life for the better, for the absolute better. Like
Mhm.
I've healed so much trauma and so much uh like tough things, just experiences in life, and it really 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 helped me. And so I want to bring that alongside my music, as I'm already creating it. I already have a directive, but that's kind of like the last piece of it that I within the past, I want to say year, I finally have added to my music, and now it's go mode. Like I want everyone to have some kind of access to that, even if it's through my music, or even just letting people know, hey, like binaural audios exist. Use them.
Yeah,
Let
that
it
is
change your
super
life.
important. That is super important because I think they attune your mind's frequency to that frequency. Whereas if both ears are at the same one, I don't know, that does as well. But this, something about changing like one being one frequency, the other one being another frequency in your brain. I think your brain has to make them match, and something
Yes.
that's like the worst explanation ever, but your brain having to process that puts it in a certain frequency, and if you choose the right one, it is very healing. And people
Yes.
do need to know that, because now we're all working to reprogram our mind, our subconscious, to better align with the life that we want to manifest and the world that we want to manifest. And this is one of the most powerful tools out there. So people like you creating medicine for the people is freaking amazing. I've been looking for something like this, but the coolest part about you is, you know, I've been into this world, and all that music is always very like mellow and meditative. Your music is like, I just want to go to a show and dance to it. Like, I just want to dance. I cannot sit down listening to your music. And it's like the dope shit that I listen to mixed with the woo, all coming together. I
Yeah.
love it.
Thank
I
you.
love it.
Thank you.
Even Paradigm Shift throwing in Coco Jumbo in there, I'm like, what is going on? I love that song. And
You
I thought,
recognize the sample. Hey, not a
yes,
lot of
I
people know that.
did.
Not a lot of
I
people know
thought
that.
my Albanian ass is the only one that knows, yeah, Coco Jumbo. I'm listening to it. I'm like, wait, what? So freaking sick.
Wow.
I cannot wait for the world to hear your music. I mean, it's out there, but I've revealed in this conversation that I'm a bit of a festie, went to Electric Forest, Camp Bisco, all these hippie, grimy festivals, and then continue to do it around the world of shows. I
Mhm.
just saw Kind Music last year in 3 different countries.
Oh
And guess
snap.
what? If someone were to tell me tonight, we're going to Kind Music or we're going to Dusk Music, I'm going Dusk, baby. I need the
Shucks.
world to know that. Like, what? It's not even comparable. And that, no shade to my boys, love you, but this is on some other level shit. So I cannot wait for
Thank
everyone to
you.
listen to it and to dance to it.
Let's go. Let's
Let's
go.
go.
Woo! Yes. Thank you.
my
Yeah.
my
Oh my
only
god.
question is, when are you doing a show that we can come to live and dance to, because I can't just be dancing around in my room to this.
Yeah, look, we have another, so I'm pushing out a lot more music. I used to be super like super OCD with like how I put things out, and now it's just like it's go time. I have an album coming out called Open Contact. And that's coming out soon. I'm aiming for like a summer release. And that's gonna be all of the healing tracks that I've been putting out over the course of the past few months. It's gonna be all in there. It's all channeled. This is all channeled music. This is from myself, my star family, and probably yours too.
Yeah.
I mean, they're like
Our star
it's
family.
our star families are in there, and it's gonna be quite an album. I'm super stoked. I'm gonna put that out there, and honestly, at that point, hopefully a show can come through. I'm open to it. I'm not attached to like an outcome, but I'm ready to put this out there for more of y'all to hear
Oh.
it. So yeah.
Oh my gosh. You know what? Sometimes I just need to say this. It came to me recently. I feel like sometimes, the show That's So Raven, where she has these visions and she'll like zone out
Because
and
I
be like,
used to
woo.
because I used to watch that show. That's crazy that you say that. Yep.
Well, I look, it's not like that exactly like Raven, but I kind of get that with people. Like, there are certain people, when I see them and feel them, I'm like, oh, like I kind of see a trajectory of sick shit, and it always ends up happening. And sometimes I work with them in some capacity to manifest. Sometimes it's just a conversation and they're off on their own. I reflect back to them that vision of them that I see, and it always ends up happening. I'm like, I knew it. I knew it. I saw your highest timeline. Like, and to me, it's almost unbelievable if they don't like see it yet because that's the only version I see. But with you, I just see you like headlining Electric Forest or like shows like that. So I cannot wait to be at one of your shows. You better save me that backstage pass.
It's done. It's done. It's already done. I mean,
Thank you for
it's
making me
done
that
set.
cool girl that discovered music before everyone knew it, because that's what it is. I'm the cool girl and I discovered your music before the rest of the world. But
Always
wow,
been the
I
cool
can.
girl. You always
Thank
been the cool
you.
girl.
Thank you.
What?
I cannot wait to like have this out there and just have the people who get it dance to it. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's my intention, is to find the right people, and the rest will unfold. And it's funny because I have seen the vision too of being in some crazy show. I know it's there. It's gonna happen. It's just when is
Matter
not
of
my
time.
business. Not my
Exactly,
business.
exactly. That's what I always say in manifesting. Like, when is it's just how you said it, not our business. We just show up
Mhm.
and do our thing. That's all that matters.
What a thing. Yep.
Oh my gosh, Felipe, this is amazing. Is there anything else that Dusk Music wants to say for the people? Is there anything else that wants to come through?
Yeah, I mean, again, Open Contact's coming out. So that's coming out this summer. Quantum Dancers this Friday. And just stay tuned because the music that's coming through, it's all channeled. And it's just so exciting because I'm glad to be bringing all of this to you guys. And just dive into yourself, man. Like this music that I'm putting out, it's not gonna do all the work for you. At the end of the
Mhm.
day, it's all you. Everything is all you. Like the more that we tap into ourselves, we heal ourselves. The more that we explore ourselves, our consciousness, the different states of existence, the different dimensions of existence, the more that we're able to perceive in everybody, in everything. Because life is more than just what meets the eye. It's more than just what we perceive reality to be. It's infinite, it's expansive, it's all you. And at the end of the day, this is what we're all coming to. This is what we're all coming to. Like, we're all in our own ways getting to this point. And just keep your heart open, man. Just keep your heart open.
Yes,
Just
yes,
keep your heart
yes,
open.
yes. Woo! I love
Woo!
it. I love it. Thank you so much. Thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
being here for today, for sharing so openly, for raising my vibration. You just have that potent frequency, and it's in your music and it's also in your soul. So thank you so much. And I cannot wait to listen to Quantum Dancer in the full this Friday and to hear your full album.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
I'm super stoked to even be here. I mean, like, the energy's been crazy and you've been giving it to me too. Don't think it's just me, because you're just it's like a
I know
recycling thing
it.
here. It's crazy.
I
It's
know it.
crazy.
I know it. You're the best. Thank you so much, Dusk.
Thank you.